Hey, it's me, Miranda. And we're back with Richard and Alex discussing their upcoming film, Order 86. Previously, you all mentioned stunt choreography. How exactly did you all get into that?
I started when I was in college. When I was a kid, I used to play around like everyone else with wooden sticks and all. But when I was in college, there was a professor there who was available for a limited time to do stunt work, and so I took the opportunity to learn it because at the time I just wanted to be an actor. I had no ambition to be anything other than an actor, and I thought stunt work is something an actor should know because I like action movies and I want to do a lot of action movies. I took the class, and it was a semester at OU, and then I graduated, and I went out into the community theater, and there was a lot of fight scenes involved in the community theater, and it turned out I'm the only one who knows what I'm doing. I'm the only one who's had any training. So I took everything I learned in the college class and I started to write it down in a manual, everything I could remember. And I started teaching it, and I became the fight choreographer in Oklahoma City because I was the only one who knew how at that time, and I was the only one in the area. And it turned out that I really had an aptitude for it. I went to the SAFD several years later to their national workshop and found out that everything that I'd been teaching was absolutely correct, which gave me a big boost of confidence. And from that point on, I've been a fight choreographer and an actor and a director. And turns out I like fight choreography. I get to be a hired gun. It's a limited time commitment with very exciting stuff. It's the sort of thing that most people are very much into. And then I started doing my own fight shows, and Alex came on board with me for And They Fight, which was a stage show we did for the Fringe Festival. And Alex had a very physical background. He'd done some things on his own before, and then I gave him lessons in fight choreography, honed the skills. He picked it up very, very quickly. And we've been working together ever since, and I've been transitioning more into observing and overseeing things and letting Alex start coming up with the creative nitty-gritty details. So, and anything you want to add?
As far as getting started in stunt work?
I don't know if I was the first one that you
Yeah,
did, but
hey, go for it. You've got the more interesting story. Yeah, basically, my three big childhood influences were Evel Knievel, Hal Needham, and Chevy Chase. As soon as I realized that John Wayne really wasn't riding the horse and falling off, and these people were not actually, falling off of buildings, that there was somebody else that came in, I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. Okay, tell me more. Right. So yeah, I just started, kind of getting into that more, or that aspect more and more. And yeah, then, like I said, as soon as I started making films, I was like, okay, what can I do besides playing a zombie and shuffling after people and trying to eat their brain? It's like, oh, hey, here's a chance to fall down on stage and have a sword fight and the other 5 to 12 things that we did through that performance.
Yeah, I didn't inspire him to come in. He actually came in and auditioned for me, and just like say, from that point on, a team was born. The other thing is, Alex is one of those people who just really gets into it, and so he came to me one time and said, could you set me on fire?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see, what was that? Yeah, basically I was involved with this cover band at the time, and they were wanting to do this cover of a Rammstein song, and I'm like, what would be great for this? Yeah, then the whole Great White thing happened, and so I was like, no, let's not do that anymore. But at the time, I was like, hey, it's like, if we can set me on fire, or just part of me on fire, then this would be really cool.
And you wanted to do just an upper body burn?
Yeah.
And do you remember what I said?
said, I have no idea, but let's see if we can figure this out. So
Actually, I said, no way.
Oh, well.
I said, I'm not qualified.
Maybe I was the one who said, let's see if we can figure this out.
Well, no,
Conversation's getting muddled.
my reaction was, no way. I mean, I knew a guy who did body burns, who did full body burns, and I'd even been to a workshop with him and talked about it, so I understood how it worked in principle. And the one thing that I came away from with that is I do not have the knowledge and the skills to do a full body burn, and it's expensive. The big thing is knowing how to make him breathe, get him to breathe, and also knowing how to put the fire out, and so he doesn't get burned. And I understood it, but I was not qualified. So I kind of went, I'll see if I can get a hold of the guy. I never did to get more information, but he would be willing to teach a body burn if I would, give him a place to sleep. But that all kind of went off on the wayside, and then finally I started working on one of my short films, Whipped. And the guy who was my whip expert, we were talking about various types of whips and styles and things to use and how we could make it interesting. And he brought up the idea of a fire whip. And then I remembered Alex saying, I want you to set me on fire. So I went, the two ideas merged in my head and went, cool, let's set a whip on fire and we'll crack it on somebody and set his arm on fire. A limited small arm burn was something I felt that I could do. So our first fire stunt was setting his arm on fire for the film Whipped.
Wow.
Still works.
Yeah.
Don't try this at home.
Well, the big expense on that, of course, is the gel. And the typical industry standard Hollywood uses is Zell gel, which sells for $100 a gallon, and there's a 5-gallon minimum. And it's like, I don't want that much Zell gel, and I don't want to spend that much money on it.
Right.
Did some researching on the internet and ran across fire ice. And fire ice is actually a product for putting out forest fires. But it's a powder, you add water, and it forms a gel. And the beautiful thing about it is not only extinguishes flame, but it also is a heat barrier, which is what the feature for Zell gel is. And the guys at the Fire Ice company, shout out to Fire Ice.
Fire ice.
We love them.
Substitutes.
That's right, use them a lot. They donated some sample bottles for us to use in the film, because it's like, it wasn't really designed for that. It's designed for putting out fires, and protecting homes and things like that. And we tried it out, we experimented with it, and it worked quite well. And we had absolutely no problems. And it put it well within our budget. So we got to do our fire stunt, and now it's like, anytime I want to do a fire stunt, it's like, I'm calling Fire Ice.
And we'll be right back with some more questions.